Lieutenant Stephanie Holden, actress Alexandra Paul. I don't know it. I'm Scott Sands. Alexandra Paul, she played Lieutenant Stephanie Holden on Baywatch, and she's featured in this new original docuseries, After Baywatch, Moment in the Sun. It's streaming now on Hulu. Alexandra is joining me now on the Scott Sands Show.
Scott. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm terrific. College me is freaking out right now. Is it weird if I admit to you that I may or may not have had a poster of you on my dorm room wall?
It's not weird at all. This is Baywatch. They had so much merchandise that a lot of people have air fresheners in their car of me. That's weirder.
That is kind of odd. I didn't know that there was a Stephanie air freshener at any point.
Oh, you're missing out. You're missing out.
And what would Lieutenant Stephanie smell like? That's a weird question I didn't expect to ask today.
She would smell amazing. I'll leave it up to your imagination.
Right, yeah. That will just move on from there. So when you heard about this Hulu series, After Baywatch, Moment in the Sun, what did you think? It sounds like nostalgic fun. I can't wait to watch.
You know, as someone who's, been on that show, when people ask you for an interview, you always want to make sure it's, especially if it's a documentary, which is long form, you want to make sure it's not going to be a slam piece, because a lot of journalists love to slam us.
Right.
So luckily, Nicole Eggert, who was a cast member of the show with whom I worked, she's the one who called me because she's a producer on the show. So because she trusted the director, I trusted the director. And so it was wonderful to be a part of it.
So people have slammed Baywatch over the years. Were you aware of the criticism and the Baywatch comments at the time? Did that impact you at all personally?
You know, I was very aware, because people would come up to me and they would say, "Oh, you're on that show." I don't watch it, but you're on that show, right? My husband would be standing next to me and he'd be like trying to be really polite, but he would say, "Really? You haven't watched the show? 1 billion people a week watch the show." They didn't realize.
Who's not watching the show?
Yeah, they didn't realize that it was a subtle slam. But in the United States, people did try and distance themselves and not admit it was like a guilty pleasure that they watched the show. But overseas, people were unabashedly enthusiastic about the show. So, but yes, to everybody listening, if you do see an actor, just know that they have feelings. And if you insult the work that they're involved in, it kind of hurts.
Yeah. It's like when I meet people today and they ask what I do, and then they'll comment, "Well, I don't listen to the radio." Thank you. I appreciate that. my son appreciates me trying to put food on the table every night. So as you look at Baywatch, and obviously, so many of us watched Baywatch then, and we'll watch it if we see it on reruns today. It sets some pretty high beauty standards as you've gotten older, and you're still absolutely stunning. Has that changed the way you think about young women and the unnatural standards that have been set through social media today?
Well, in the 1990s, the beauty standards for women were much narrower than they are today, and Baywatch was a very white show. And the body type was, I did not fall into that body type, but every other actress on the show did, which was curvaceous, large breasts, but low body fat, which really isn't a natural thing to have, because breasts are made of fat. So therefore, a lot of them were augmented breasts. And I remember going to my reunion, and one of my classmates asking, are those breasts on those women real? And I thought, oh my God, this is setting such a bad precedent for young women thinking that they have to be low body fat but have large breasts. That is very uncommon, just because of what I said, like breasts are made of fat. So that was an unfortunate pressure, I think, that young women had back then. But as I said, my body type was very different. I was athletic, I had small natural breasts, and so maybe I helped a little bit widen the beauty standard. Today, if the show was made, it would be diverse in that it would be people of many races and ethnicities, and the body types would be not just low body fat, large breasts. It
So
would be much more diverse.
over the past year, since January, I have personally lost 75 pounds, which, by the way, would make for a couple of
Oh,
huge breasts. And I know
wow,
that.
congratulations.
Thanks. And I know that you're a wellness coach now. What kind of advice do you have for staying healthy and fit at our age?
Yes. Here's the number one thing I would say is that firstly is you need to plan, because good eating doesn't happen just naturally. In our society, so much bad food is pushed on us all the time. There's donuts at the office, there's a 7-Eleven you drive by, et cetera, et cetera. So you really have to plan ahead and make sure you have good food in the house or with you just in case you get hungry. Is that something that you've done to help you lose the weight?
Well, yeah, some of that, but I'm also doing tirzepatide injections with the revivehealthplan.com, and that has worked amazingly for me.
Yes, but you that's great, but you still need to eat
Better, a
well
lot of protein, right?
yeah, to maintain your health. So eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, beans, nuts, and seeds, get a lot of fiber is so important so that you can feed that microbiome. So, but the big thing I say is to people is to make sure you have good food around you and get rid of the bad food, because the junk food is like a drug. It is a drug, and the fact if you're overeating it, it's not your fault. It's the fact it's a drug, and you don't have lack of willpower, because being healthy really isn't about so much as willpower as setting up your life so that you have not many temptations around you all the time. So in our house, we don't anything that I think that I would eat that's unhealthy, that I would overeat. I just don't have it around.
I know we've got to wrap things up. We're talking to Alexandra Paul here on the Scott Sand Show. After Baywatch, Moment in the Sun, an original docuseries on Hulu. Can you share, just as we wrap things up, Alexandra, one of your favorite stories, one of your favorite memories from Baywatch?
Oh, one of my favorite memories is being in the ocean in December, in the Pacific Ocean, which was very cold then. California, it gets cold, folks.
Right.
And with David Hasselhoff, and there was a shark. We were trying to avoid a shark. And he got to wear a full bodysuit because he was we'd fallen off a ship. We'd fallen off a cruise ship, and he got to wear a full wetsuit underneath his clothes. But I was wearing a skimpy little dress, so I couldn't wear a full wetsuit. And I was so cold. But he was making me laugh so much because he's such a funny, lovely man that I actually he was helping me stay a little bit warmer.
And of course, all of our favorite memories, slow jogging down the beach. So we thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Alexandra, you're a pleasure. Thank you so much.